Welcome to the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Interviews, a series we created to give even more exposure to startups from the Maritime Startup Ecosystem Network. Today we have Nidhi Gupta of Portcast. Portcast is a predictive analytics platform that provides transparency on cargo flows. Welcome, Nidhi. Welcome, Nidhi from Singapore. How are you?
Hi, Leonardo. Yeah, I'm good. How still surviving and staying safe. How are you?
Oh yeah, very well. Actually, we take advantage of this time locked at home to do these kind of things. And actually, I'm seeing more people now than I used before. So it's great. But
yeah.
let's focus on you. So Nidhi Gupta podcast. I read a brief statement about what podcast is, but could you please explain us more about Portcast, what it does, and maybe also how it was born, but very briefly.
Okay, sure. So we make supply chains more dynamic. So we predict how much cargo is moving between any two countries and when that cargo is going to arrive. And the way we do this is by using various external data sets. So it includes satellite sources of data about where ships are, how they're moving, how long they're stopping at any port, etc. It's about weather disruptions, so really granular data in terms of wave height, water current, etc. It's about economic patterns, so what's happening between any two countries in terms of trade, production patterns, consumption patterns, inventory levels, and how that's going to impact cargo moving between the countries. And really, it's a lot about shipping companies and their way of how they schedule ships, how they're moving them, how full they are, how they're changing the schedules and so on. So all of that data is something that we maintain real time. And then we use machine learning to predict more accurately than existing systems in terms of when the cargo will arrive and how much cargo will arrive. And we work with some of the leading logistics companies, freight forwarders, shipping lines, and also manufacturers on this technology.
Yeah. So basically, it's a lot of data that we are used to, and nowadays analyzed with machine learning and used to forecast trades and traffic for the benefit of. So you mentioned freight forwarders, I guess ports as well. So who really benefits of the product? Who are your clients or potential clients?
So we work with both the asset owner as well as with the logistics company. So the asset owner could be the shipping line or the airline as well. I mean, we've started doing work with cargo airlines as well. So it's the asset owner and how we can optimize them to make the return on their investment stronger. Understanding the demand forecast and then how it impacts their capacity utilization and how better they can do dynamic pricing. And the second thing is that we can, because we're tracking where the cargo is and when it's going to arrive in terms of container level granularity, that helps freight forwarders, manufacturers understand when the cargo is going to arrive, what's the risk going to be like, and why is there a disruption? Is it stuck at transit, or is there a delay because of port congestion, or because of the schedule changes, manage dynamically, and then we update what the arrival time is going to look like. And that's very interesting for freight forwarders and manufacturers, because it helps them overcome any detention demurrage costs, any buffer inventory costs, and expediting of air freight. So all of that sort of supply chain cost inefficiencies can be avoided if they have real-time tracking, as well as it saves a lot of time, because all of this is done today very manually.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty clear. And in fact, it's real time. So definitely, it's people and companies who really need to know in real time what is happening of their goods, rather than waiting days or longer to know what's going to happen. So very good. And who are your? So do you have already clients? I understand. I'm not asking who are the clients, but what profiles that you said, and but I would say, so how are you in terms of business development? Do you have already a strong customer base? Are you expanding? Are you expanding in which areas, which geographic areas, or which other sectors?
Yep. So we've been building up product and working on the company for over 2 years now, and we have a strong client base. Interestingly, our team is based in Singapore and in India, but we don't just work with companies in Singapore or in Asia. Our customers are really global companies, and we can predict anywhere in the world. So our technology is capable of handling any global trade lanes. So that's really interesting. We can target basically any customer anywhere in the world. So we already have a client base, and right now we're in sort of a growth stage, just trying to provide a product to more and more companies, getting them on board either through the website or using our APIs, and integrating into their technology. So as a company, we're still young, but we've been working with some of the largest maritime and logistics companies globally, and already have a few of them as our clients. We as a startup, we raised investment from venture capital firms in 2018, and we've been growing ever since, getting more customers and building the product.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, this was the next question. How are you doing with funding? Because of course, you need funding to grow, but particularly in a situation like yours, where I understand you have already a proven business model, proven product. So, what are the plans for the next future or for the long term in terms of funding? Anything that you can tell us, considering that you are on a public interview?
Yeah. So we had raised one round in 2018, late 2018, as I mentioned, with venture capitalists based in Singapore, but also in the US, and some senior industry advisors who came on board. So since then, definitely the investment has helped us build the product, go to market, but also been generating revenue. So aspect good. We would be looking at raising our next round sometime late this year or early next year. I think that's what we're imagining as our next round to look like.
Okay. And what kind of round would be like Series A or late seed or what that range?
So we would target to raise a Series A round.
Okay, good. It's interesting. I think it's important to know for any investor that is watching this, or maritime companies, of course, that are interested to invest in young startups and valid startups. To know the level of investment that you're looking for. And so I probably anticipated this, but what's the profile of the investor that you're looking?
So we have essentially two kinds of investors on our board at the moment. One is sort of typical venture capital firms who have the capabilities of work with startups and turn them into successful businesses, go from just a startup to really what a company looks like, what a functioning business looks like, and scale faster. So those are one kind of investors that we have on our portfolio at the moment. The second are sort of senior industry advisors, so former CEOs of logistics companies or manufacturing companies or shipping veterans, people who understand the industry, who understand the customer, who've been the customer, and who would be the kind of users of our product. So they can help us from a commercial perspective, from a product development perspective, whether we're doing the right things. So that's essentially the kind of investors that we would like to have at the next round as well, a mix of both kind of profiles, people who understand the industry, who have really lived and breathed the industry and understand how this product could help the customers. And the second would be strategic investors from a scaling perspective, people who can help guide us through the next phase of development of the company. What are the challenges of building a larger organization, having a greater team, trying to expand the team globally, B2B sales, SaaS products, what makes sense from a marketing perspective, sales perspective. So typical things what an organization needs to think about, from building a business perspective. So those are the two kind of investors we would like. I think we've got a mix of both US as well as Singapore local investors, and from a geographic perspective, as I said earlier, we're targeting global customers, so we're not really constrained by the location of the investors, and we would be more than happy to work with any European or American investors at the next stage as well.
Yeah. Okay. So global in nature, but also in the facts and open to capital from anywhere in the world. Time frame. What's the time frame for this? End of this year, next year?
So we're targeting towards Q4 this year. That's when we would want to start raising. The rest of it is really about keeping an agile and open mind to how the market evolves. But that's the time frame when we would start having discussions with investors.
Okay, so Series A investment starting end of Q4 2020, and investors, global investors from either experts of the sector or experts of growing a company, startup into a proper, into a full-scale business.
Yeah, that's right. Just on the timeline, beginning of Q4 rather than end of Q4, because I think, having gone through one VC round, it does take some time to go through the entire process. So we would want to start having the discussions towards early part of Q4. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for specifying this, because I was saying end of 2020, and then I said end of Q4, but absolutely. So let's take Q4 as the time where you do it. Absolutely. Well, okay, great. Any other thing that might be interesting, relevant for the audience, that is made by investors, maritime companies, and potentially also other startups that want to learn from you? So anything, bit that you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I think given what's happened, these unreal times that we're living in a way, I think it will really be good for the industry, for logistics and maritime, because we do see a lot of customers, existing and new customers, coming back to us and asking for how they can make their supply chain more dynamic, how they can understand what are the risks that are happening in the environment, and predict better. So I think what is happening right now is really going to give an impetus to technology, and companies who are able to embrace technology and digital solutions like what we're providing would be the ones who would really come out as winners. So I think in the long run, this actually enables the industry to not just think about logistics, but really act on it in terms of technology. So I think, I'm quite positive about what will come out of this situation.
Absolutely. And in fact, yes, the industry is an industry that has always sort of acted as, if it's not broken, let's not change it.
Absolutely.
But now actually it's showing that it is broken.
Absolutely. Exactly. And this is really how the world is going to evolve, and everyone's going to be working, being virtual and still being sort of alive in terms of working, is what's going to happen in future. So the more efficient and productive we can be by using technology, embracing it, the faster we can do it, the better it will be for us. And that's the companies who would really come out as winners at the end of it.
Yeah. And I think that the big winners in this time of bad times are really the startups, because they have something that is super valuable for many industries that are struggling or might be struggling, and an industry particularly like ours, which is so essential to keep living, to keep the world spinning, even in times of COVID. We cannot keep all. We cannot stop the shipping industry. So
absolutely.
Startups in this sector with this situation that can really help the industry and the companies in the industry to perform better and to deliver value in these times are bound to win. So definitely you are one of these, and I'm very happy that I could have like this chat, and we've been talking for long now, and I really see how you're growing and see how you are, how you're doing great. So we had a very difficult interview with connection going back and forth, and
Yeah.
some frozen screens, but we live with it, because that's also part of
Yeah.
the COVID crisis, I guess, because
Yeah,
everybody's on Zoom
absolutely.
right now. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
and so I wish you all the best. Late afternoon or early evening in Singapore, so time to go and relax. Thank you very much,
Yeah, thank you
Nidhi.
very much, Leonardo. And yeah, stay safe. And
Thank you.
yeah, hopefully this will all be for the better.
Yeah.